The words we use to describe leadership, they're not just words. They actually build the entire framework for who we think a leader can even be. So today, we're going to deconstruct just a few lines from a corporate training module to show you exactly how this works and, well, the worldview it reveals. Okay, so our source material comes from a module with this pretty provocative title, The Science of Women. Right away, that's fascinating, isn't it? Calling it a science implies that there are these fixed, observable principles at play, almost like you can study a group of people like a natural phenomenon. So that title immediately makes us ask, what exactly is it promising to show us? We're going to treat this almost like an investigation, breaking down the specific claims in this text to really uncover the worldview it's selling. Let's start with the very first core concept, because this description kicks off not with skills or strategies, but with something, well, a lot more abstract. And there it is. The first promise is that you will understand the heart and the soul of women. Now just listen to that language for a second. Heart and soul. That's not something you'd typically find in a corporate training session, right? It's emotional, it's almost spiritual, and it immediately sets a very particular tone. So in this context, heart and soul isn't just some poetic little flourish. No, the source is positioning it as the fundamental key, the one central thing you have to grasp to understand women in leadership. It's the core of the whole thing. And this leads us to a huge question. What does it mean when you frame professional development this way? When leadership is presented not as a set of skills you can learn, but as some deep, innate understanding of a person's soul? What does that imply about who can or can't lead? So the source then builds on this idea, moving from the really abstract concept of a soul to the more tangible idea of, desire and motivation. The second promise is to understand what a woman leader wants. And notice how specific that is, not what leaders want, period. The framing here suggests that the goals of women leaders are their own special category, something that actually requires special instruction to figure out. Just think about that contrast for a second. On one hand, the source is suggesting there's this unique, almost mysterious set of wants that are exclusive to women leaders. But on the other hand, there's the pretty common view that most leaders, no matter who they are driven by universal goals. Success, making an impact, growing their team, hitting their objectives. This language carves out a separate, gendered lane for motivation. This brings up another really critical question. If you have to single out what a women leader wants, what are you implying about the default? Is there like a standard, unspoken male model of leadership desire? And this is just the other version that needs its own instruction manual. And that brings us to the final and probably the most definitive claim made in this short text. This is where the language gets even more specific. But yeah, the source doesn't just stop with these abstract ideas like soul and wants. It makes one final claim that is way more absolute. And there it is, the unique characteristics only found among women leaders. The phrase that just jumps out is only found. I mean, that is an incredibly strong claim. It's not suggesting a tendency or something that's common. It's suggesting complete exclusivity, that there are leadership traits that exist in women and literally nowhere else. A claim this strong just immediately opens up a flood of questions, right? Like, what are these supposed characteristics? What's the impact when you label a professional trait as exclusive to one gender? Does that end up limiting how we see men as leaders? And maybe most importantly, is this actually challenging stereotypes, or is it just reinforcing them in a shiny new package? Okay, so we've pulled apart these three claims: the soul, the wants, the exclusive traits. Now let's kind of connect the dots and talk about why this kind of language isn't just a curiosity. It has real-world impact. So as we've seen in just a handful of words, this material isn't just describing a training course. It's actively building a very, very particular worldview about leadership. What it really does is frame the conversation around traits that are presented as innate, gender-specific, and kind of mysterious. The subtext here is that women's leadership isn't straightforward or skill-based, but instead it's a puzzle that needs to be deciphered. And when you see something as a puzzle instead of a skill set, it can create some very real barriers, making it all seem less accessible and maybe even justifying gatekeeping. The language we use is never neutral. It actually builds our reality. So the final question is pretty simple. When we talk about leaders this way, assigning them mysterious qualities and exclusive traits, who are we including in that picture? And maybe more importantly, who are we subconsciously leaving out of it entirely?